kick it off. So, hello, yay. Hello everyone. My name is Zoe. This is Music Mukbang, and today we are talking to Ryan Hall. Hello. How are you?
Hi, I'm Ryan Hall. I'm good. How are you doing?
Awesome. So the big thing, the hot news, you just released Post Teenage Angst. How you feel? It's been like
Pretty
about like
good.
a week or so, right, since you released it?
What is today? Saturday? I
Yeah.
guess it has been just over a week. Wait, is that right? Or am I like, it's October 20th, so I guess it's been a week or two. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Time
But
flies.
how have you been feeling about the reception of this album so far?
Really good. I don't know. I've never received so many like messages like praising I for lack of a better word, like praising the album and like saying, oh my god, this song did so much to me and like it made me feel this way. And like I feel like I've never gotten that sort of reception off of any body of work or even like a single before. Like people love it and it makes me very happy.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's pretty evident why. Like, it's very strong from all angles. Do you feel like you did anything differently in terms of the promotion or like sharing like the singles that maybe would have gotten that increased attention compared to your other albums?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for starters, for each single I put out like a trailer or like an announcement video of sorts just
Yeah.
to kind of get the ball rolling. And I feel like the consistency of that helped a lot, just like getting the word around that there is like something larger than life happening
Yeah.
in this corner of the music scene, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Candy Corn was your first album, Chasing Butterflies was the second album. What would you say is different either sonically or technically from those albums compared to now? How's the growth been?
Um, uh, it's kind of just been like a linear sort of like I haven't really kept track of it in that sort of way, but now that I'm thinking about it and like looking back on everything, there has been like a really interesting sort of growth in my like sound from Candy Corn to Chasing Butterflies to this one. And honestly, I wouldn't even consider those two like albums. For me, they were more like EPs.
Okay.
They didn't really feel like an album moment for me. It was just kind of like everything that I do is sort of just like figuring out my own sound. And even with Posting Angst, like I don't really feel like I have like the Ryan Hall sound figured out yet. Everything that I do is just sort of working towards like getting that sort of Ryan Hall sound in place.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like Candy Corn was like really early on in my career when I was like just doing whatever I first like thought came to mind, like creatively, and that was really fun. I really love what I did with Candy Corn, and then Chasing Butterflies was one where I like was starting to receive a little bit more attention on social media because of a song that blew up on TikTok a while ago. So I think with that project, I wasn't really too proud of those songs because I was kind of creating what I thought was going to work better.
Mhm.
But I've kind of taken the opposite approach with Posting Angst, where I just sort of created whatever came to mind again, and it felt so like cathartic.
Yeah.
That feeling, just like it did when I was making Candy Corn. So it's kind of. I also, I don't know if this pertains to the question at all, but the cover art for Posting Angst is almost like a weird callback to the cover art of Candy Corn because I don't
Okay.
know if you can see the similarity, but in Candy Corn, it's like me shirtless and there's like sun rays coming in and it's like super bright. But
Yeah.
Posting Inks is like the darker version of that where I'm like sort of like hunched over with my shirt off and like it's this darker, more sinister version of that.
Yeah. So when you're kind of choosing what songs to go on to the album, do you have a specific process that you'll kind of go through to like weed out songs? It seems like you've got just like a shit ton of music. Am I right about that? Like it's
Yeah.
probably pretty hard to choose.
Um I do have a lot of music with Posting Angst. Uh well like I'm trying to think because there are a lot of songs that could have been on Posting Inks but weren't. And I feel like it was just sort of about selecting which songs kind of held that sonic cohesion together.
Yeah.
Because with this project, in comparison to all my other projects, I just wanted there to be like more of a sonic cohesion between the songs, and less of like a genre diversity. So I could sort of say this is getting closer to the Ryan Hall sound I really want to accomplish. Um,
Yeah.
so there, I don't know. The process for selecting the songs was really just about like that cohesion.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have a favorite song off the album?
Probably track 9, Reprise.
Okay. Yeah. That one is pretty different. What made you decide to have that like as a part of the album? Was that like a conscious decision or did it just kind of happen that way?
It just kind of happened. It wasn't like I made the song and I was debating whether or not it should be on the album. It was like from the very moment I started that song, I was like, okay, I this is gonna be on Postingst. Like it that just feels like the epiphany of what Postingst means to me. That
Yeah.
song is what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say like from this album you want people to understand or like feel when they hear it?
I don't think it's a question of what I want people to feel. It's more of like I want people to interpret it in whatever way they see fit.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cliche and it's easy for me to just be like, "Oh, whatever, you can figure out whatever it means to you." But honestly, like this project was so deeply personal like for me to make and such a reflection on my personal experiences that
Mm,
it almost feels wrong for me to even say it doesn't really like mean anything like that, but I do feel like it has that universal feeling of post teenage angst when you're coming out of high school and going into college and figuring out all of this shit in your life that you never thought about beforehand.
yeah.
I just kind of want people to I want that to like I want people to resonate with that. I think there's definitely like a target demographic. Obviously, it being called post teen angst, I want that sort of group to resonate with that idea and sort of feel the angst of being a post teenager, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the consensus.
Sure, sure, yeah. So you've got a bunch of original tracks on here, but then you also have your own twist on Iris by the Goo Goo
Mhm.
Dolls. What made you decide to release a cover as a part of the album?
I don't know because when I was making that cover, I like I I thought about making the cover of the song one day because I hadn't heard the song in so long, but it just came on the radio or something like that. I don't even remember when I heard it, and I was like, "Hold on a second. What if I like did something with this?" Or I can't remember if it was either that or I was starting a song with like the pad that comes in on Iris or whatever, and I was like, "And I don't want the world to see me." And I was like, "Hold on a second. That kind of like actually works."
Kind of goes
And
with
it ended up yeah, and it thematically and lyrically, it also kind of ties in with that feeling of post-teen angst. So it just kind of felt right to put on the project. Um, Even though it's not like an original work, I just felt like it just worked because
yeah.
it's such a good song and I resonate with that
Yeah, for
feeling.
sure. And I think also, I mean, if you're thinking about it from a live perspective too, you've already got boom, like you already figured out like what you want your cover to be, in a live setting.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
makes it
There's
a
no
little
question.
more efficient there. You've also done like Teenage Dream cover, like something else, like on your SoundCloud and stuff. Those are insane. And you produce all your music yourself, correct? Was there
Yes, produce, mix, and master.
Okay. And how did you get into that? What got you started?
Well, I've been around music pretty much my entire life. My dad um, was like a blues like bar gig. He was like a one man band for a while, and then he had like several other bands that he played in when I was like before the age of 10, basically. Um, and so I would go out to a lot of those shows, and I would see him play, and I was like, wow, I want to do that one day. I mean, obviously, it's kind of like the telltale. Like my dad's an artist, I want to be an artist when I grow up. But
Yeah.
then I started playing drums when I was about 10 or 12, around there. I've been playing drums ever since. I still play in like two other bands. I play drums. And then I started playing guitar when I was 15 or 6, like no, 14 or 15 probably. Um, and then I just like was sort of producing weird, I like avant-garde beats when I was like 16 or 17 because I thought it just sounded cool. And then somewhere when quarantine started happening, I was like, okay, maybe let's try making like an actual song for once and see
Yeah.
what happens. I didn't really have any expectations on where it would go. Um, but I ended up making my first like single or double single, No Tears and Honesty. And I just put it out because I was like, okay, I have nothing better to do. Online school is a piece of cake. I'm bored as hell.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to work on.
And
And that just got the ball rolling.
yeah, for sure. Did you find that it was kind of easy to build like a fan base and build your presence online during that time?
Uh, I wasn't thinking about it like that at the time. I
Mhm.
was just putting music out like as a sort of hobby because I wanted to go into graphic design. I
Okay.
actually had a scholarship to go to Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. And I was about to go, and then I got a record deal in 2020, late 2020, I guess. Yeah. But so I wasn't really thinking about it in terms of online like promotion and stuff. So I wasn't posting on TikTok all that much or like trying to reach a larger audience at that time. It
Yeah.
wasn't until late 2020 when I posted a TikTok for a song called Party Girl, and that got a lot of attention, more than I had ever originally precedented.
Yeah.
And then I started taking it a little bit more seriously. But in the beginning, it was, to answer your question, it was never that question of reaching a larger audience. It was just
Yeah.
whatever.
You're just having fun. I feel like that's the best way
Hmm.
to go about it, right? Was there
Yeah.
was there a song on Post Teenage Angst that for you was most difficult in turn from a production standpoint?
Most difficult from a production standpoint. Um, shit. Probably. I want to say Reprise.
Okay.
Obviously, that's like the meat of the project because it's like what, like almost 5.5 minutes long, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
That one and Still were both the longest ones in the project, and they took the sort of the most amount of effort to get right. I think Reprise, though, I was trying to push a lot of boundaries with that song and do something I had never really done before.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of fine tuning, especially in the mixing stage, which isn't really to answer your question about the production, but it was
No.
a lot of just like back and forth and tweaking and making sure everything fit where it's supposed to.
Yeah. Do you find that you kind of have to like shut the computer down and like take a step back and revisit it so that you don't
Yes,
with the mixing?
especially with the mixing. Yeah,
Yeah.
for the closer track on the project, everything is.
Yeah.
I wrote the first verse, pre-chorus, and chorus in late 2021,
Hmm.
uh, and then I didn't touch it at all until well, I was actually trying to get a feature on it. I was trying to get Jay Xander. You know who Jay Xander is?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I almost got Jay Xander on the second verse of that song. And then I was like, this song is too personal. I have to like, I have to do it myself.
Yeah.
So I ended up finishing it like literally just this last summer, like a few months before the project had released, like after I had started dropping singles. Um, and that one, like I literally took like a year and a half to finish that one, or
Right.
almost 2 years. Been.
I mean, it's crazy
Yeah.
how you'll start like writing or like have like the beginnings of the song and then
Hmm.
like years later it'll pop back up and then it fits perfectly with whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just stumped. I like had no idea what to do with it, and then finally, like this summer, I was like, okay, maybe I should like finish this
Yeah.
probably. And then it just kind of happened in a matter of days, and it was done.
Yeah. Okay, so if you were to pick one song off the album to be like on radio or to like go viral or something, which one do you think would be, which one do you think would fit?
I think Homewrecker.
I agree.
Homewrecker feels the most like radio ready song on the project.
I agree. When I heard it, I was like, damn, someone's got to get this like someone's got to get this shit like on the radio
Yeah,
because I
that's
feel
like the pop song.
yeah, but I mean it is different from traditional pop songs in that you can tell, you know, how personal it is, two, the level of the writing and the level of the production. You know, like it's
Yes,
not just like cookie cutter, you know. So
exactly.
that's what very special. Um so you work with Atlas in Motion and Han IRL a
Hmm.
lot. And you're also doing a show with them soon, right? In December.
Yes.
Where is that at again?
It's at the East Room in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, the East Room, Nashville, Tennessee. You'll be doing a live
December
show
1st.
December
Yes, ma'am.
1st. How did you come to meet them?
That's a really great question. I think I don't know if I met Hannah through TikTok or if it was just like through Instagram and we would like swipe up on each other's stories.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like we eased into the friendship more and more over
Yeah.
the past like year and a half, I think. And now we have a group chat called the Holy Trinity, where we just sort of like talk in demos all the time. And Hannah's always asking us to like make a song or like an EP together with all three of us, and it can be like Boygenius.
Yeah. Which
Like we're like the hyperpop Boygenius.
Hyperpop boy genius. I like that. That's awesome. And do you find that it's helpful to be in a group setting like that to be able to get that constant feedback on your music and see how they, you know, may and or may not like switch things up or like add different things to it?
It's definitely helpful having like a second opinion most of the
Yeah.
time, but I feel like me and Hannah and Jax are also super like-minded that I don't even like see them as like people I would even go to for feedback. I'm just like, guys, check this shit out. Isn't this fire? And then they just go, yes, this is so fucking sick. And then we all just kind of like hype each other up. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was gonna like ask someone for feedback, I think I would go somewhere else to be 100% honest because we're like I said, we're all just so like-minded
Yeah.
that we just have the same opinions on the music and everything.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a confirmation bias in a sense.
Yes, exactly, exactly. I think I love Jackson. I love Hannah though. I had Jax over at my house. Um, Jax Atlas Emotion, if that wasn't
Yeah,
clear already. But I had him over at my house for the past like 5 or 6 days, and we were working on a shit ton of new music together.
that's awesome. I feel like it's super great to have people too, like in the industry. I feel like sometimes that can get a little tricky. Um,
Yeah,
are you based out of LA or?
I am not. I am based out of Georgia.
Oh, nice. That's good. Do you feel like at some point you'll have to move or you'll want to move to like LA or New York or what have you? Or do you like it here?
I don't like. I don't want to honestly.
Yeah.
Like I've been to LA a few times, and it's fun, and it's cool to go there for sessions.
Hmm.
But I don't see myself living there for a long like extended period of time. I would rather have like a I'd rather live in a quiet town if I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah. I think it's very I feel like there's definitely two different camps when it comes to that.
Hmm.
Of
Yeah.
like, okay, like people that want to get out or people that do want to like be in New York or LA, and then the people that like
Yeah.
oftentimes started making music in quarantine. They're like, why would I need to do that?
Yeah.
Like, I could
It's kind
just
of like that. Like I can do remote sessions and that kind of stuff. Not that I really enjoy doing remote sessions. I would much rather do stuff in person. But
yeah,
I really only see myself like traveling to New York or LA for like a like couple weeks at a time maybe.
yeah,
My managers would say otherwise, but I don't really want to move out there.
yeah, for sure. So Therapy is your most popular song. Uh,
It's it.
why why do you think that is?
Why do I think Therapy is the most popular song? Um, I feel like it's because it just kind of uh the whole like break-ins hyperpop niche sort of latched onto it, and they
Okay.
were like, "Oh, this is very like break-ins core." I guess I don't really know. it's kind of funny too because like I feel like not a lot of my new music is at all consistent with like the sound of therapy. I feel like especially with Post Teen Angst, there's much more of a rock indie. I don't know what you want to call it, but
Yeah,
it's not the same as therapy. And I think a lot of people might be disappointed by that, but therapy was really just another one of those like sound chasing experiments. And I wasn't even gonna release therapy to begin with. It was just kind of like an experiment to like see. It was like a practice run for
interesting.
random shit. And then I just posted the chorus on TikTok and people loved it, and it was kind of just its own moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it definitely seems like you've got a pretty good core fan base that's like ride or die. They're gonna
Yeah,
whichever
and I love
song
that.
you choose to play with. Yeah.
I would rather that than have a million like plus fans who just come to my shows for one song.
Yeah. I did before we jump into the rapid fire Q&A, I did want to ask a little bit about your writing process. How, in terms of writing, like how do you go about that? I know you mentioned it's very personal, but
Yeah,
some of
I
the things you say are so specific.
I agree. Yeah, a lot of the lyrics are very specific and personal, and I was actually just having a conversation with my friend Julian about how writing lyrics in the third person can be more productive than writing lyrics in the first person, because then
Oh, yeah,
it's less corny to write about a situation in the third person than it is to write it from your own perspective.
that's
Um,
true.
but I feel like in the case of post teenage, it was just a lot of self reflection, and a lot of the songs aren't even about real situations that I've had in my life or anyone that I know has had happen in their life. They're kind of just in like my own insecurities. Like Homewrecker and post breakup sex were both just sort of like, what if this all falls apart? And then it's like a scenario I create in my mind, and I'm like, what if
Yeah,
this happens? And it's like the end of the world, and it's the worst thing ever. And that's kind of just like where would my head be at if that was happening right now? And then I write from that perspective,
yeah,
which is almost in its own way a third person perspective because it's not really my own experience. It's like a
right.
scenario created in my head kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
that's where most of the writing in the project came from. Like Reprise especially, that song sounds so personal. Like
Yeah,
there's no way someone would listen to that and be like, this kid did not have this experience and this kid is definitely not writing about his own breakup. But it's I'm not. I'm literally not.
yeah,
I'm pulling from personal experiences that I've had in the past with other people, but none of it is like nail on the head. This is exactly what happened in my life.
yeah. Well, and I think that's like that's so fascinating to me. Like when someone is in like a stable, healthy relationship, but their creative level is like to a point where they can just dig up like the saddest, like most like or
Yeah,
like saddest or like angriest, most emotional like song you've ever heard, and you're like, there's no way they didn't go through that in real life, and it's like, no,
yeah,
just okay, so should we jump into the rapid fire Q&A?
yes. Let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna say Instagram users or try my best to say Instagram users and then we'll go from there. So
Okay.
first we've got from Pseudo Hazel. What covers are you planning on making? Teenage Dream cover is peak ASF. I need more.
I actually have a whole playlist full of like I'd cover ideas. I can list some off for you if you want.
Sure.
I have 1,000 miles.
Okay.
Um, Last Friday night, The Hills.
Yeah.
I got a feeling. Everybody talks, and then Cheerleader by Omi. I don't know if you recognize any of those songs,
I
but
do. Oh my
they're all
God.
like 2000s, 2010s, like
Yeah.
iconic.
I feel like cheerleader just like unlocked like a core memory. So next from Fiona Garrity 63, can you make tabs for more of your songs?
I would love to make tabs for more of my songs. The software that I was using to like make tabs, my free trial ran out, and I've just been too lazy to actually get the software. So I as soon as I buy the software, I'm gonna make tabs for more of my songs.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Taya Moody, which artist would you be the most starstruck to meet?
Um, Probably shit. Either Jeremy Zucker or Eden because I already met Breakins and I was pretty starstruck. That made me pretty starstruck.
That's insane.
So either of those two, because that right there is like my holy trinity.
For sure. We've got a couple questions about this. So I think the username is slept so long. Okay, that's the one user. And
Uh,
then Donnie Ski Bum 500. They're both asking about your vocal chain. How does it sound so good? Your voice is amazing.
um, well, for starters, I use a Rode NTK microphone to record on, and that
Okay.
goes into a Scarlett 2i2 interface. And then the main plugins that I used on this project, I think, were just like Antares Autotune, uh, Isotope Nectar 3, and then shit, like Abbey Road Saturator, and then Pro Q3, and like Soothe too. Those like are like the main ones that I've used.
Awesome.
Oh, and the Waves, uh, shit, which one is it? The Waves LA 70 compressor is
Okay.
a really good one. Really good vocal compressor. You're welcome.
Now everyone can sound like Ryan Hall.
Now everyone can sound like Ryan Hall.
Okay, so Carly Boy asks, have you ever thought about making breakdowns of your songs on YouTube? Would love to see that. And then
Yeah,
similarly, I am Takutama. Please ask him if he would do a production tutorial of some songs. So
yeah. I
he wants
got
to see YouTube.
when I put out like a questionnaire like a week after the project released, there were so many questions asking me to do production breakdowns, and they it really just depends on if I should do like a stream and just
Yeah.
go through the entire album in like 4 hours and just bust it out like that, or if I should actually like go in and make detailed production breakdowns of each song. I do want to though. It takes a lot of time and effort to make happen. So I just want to. I think I should select like 3 or 4 songs and just do those,
Yeah.
whichever ones people want.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so next we've got a couple from Diego E. Salazar from Josiah Earls asking about who are some of your like main inspirations.
I mean, my inspirations kind of like change on a monthly or so basis. For this project, I think I was taking a lot of inspiration from Jane Remover,
Okay.
James Ivy. Uh, there's a lot of Jeremy Zucker in there,
Yeah.
and like sort of artists in that caliber, I guess. Those are like three. I mean, obviously, like there's bound to be some break-ins in there, but I think
Yeah.
there's less on it on this project than on like Therapy, for example.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and then last one from a Kim's Heart. Not a question, but love your music so much. Thank you for existing.
Oh,
That was
that's
so
so
nice.
cute. Thank you for thanking me for existing, I think.